think you are, really? Who do you think you are, huh?
Let's go, dude. When you check into the Boston Harbor Hotel, you're greeted at the door by the doorman, and then they pass him off to the bellman, where the bellman greets you and says, "Welcome to the Boston Harbor Hotel."
We get to the hotel to check in, and who do we see?
Hey, dude, look at this. Look at this. Wow, I guess the power slap didn't work out, huh? Hey, you look good. Come on, man.
Power slap didn't work out.
Yeah, it was one of the funniest one-liners of all time. Dean, tip this man, please.
Welcome to Boston Hotel.
What are you doing?
Ha 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 ha, Dana. I don't even know what number episode this is. For Christ's sakes. Welcome to the DynamiteGizmo podcast, everyone. Episode 245? 46? I don't know, dude. I don't fucking know what episode it is. Here's today's card. It's tradition around here to show you the card, but it's not tradition to show you what's on the card. But you will find out anyway, because why? Because we'll talk about it. Welcome to the DynamiteGizmo podcast. It is now a UFC podcast. I think it is, dude. I can't stop talking about UFC, and it seems to work for me. I've got a video essay on the Fighting Nerds coming up, so don't you fucking wait, dude. Don't you wait another second to not subscribe. You should subscribe now, because I'm going to put out a video essay on the Fighting Nerds. And this whole podcast is basically going to transition into a UFC podcast because I said so and I like it and it works and it'll work for me. We got a lot of shit to talk about. Okay, we got Paul American. Jon Jones needs 6 months to train for Tom Aspinall. Apparently, what a guy, dude. Bryce Mitchell is fighting demons in his fucking brain because John Silva's getting in his fucking head, dude. Islam Makhachev won't fight until Ilia's had at least one. Islam Makhachev won't fight Ilia Topuria unless he's had at least one fight in lightweight, so we'll get into that a little later. Merab versus O'Malley 2 is booked, and if we have time, we might touch on the GFL, but I fucking doubt it because we don't really need to talk about that shit. Dude. Do you guys remember a few months ago? It might have been, I think it was even in December. In 2024? Back when we were in the year 2024. Remember when we were in that year? We're now in the year 2025. Can you fucking believe that goddamn fucking shit? Dude, where is Dana?
Don't touch each other, please.
Okay, I can't really use this soundboard to my fullest extent because I got to use it to switch cameras. It's my that's my Tourette's kicking in. But do you guys remember a few months ago? I think it was in December. Jake Paul and Logan Paul put out that poster. This poster here. Remember this one? March 27th. On HBO Max. Remember that shit? March 27th, HBO Max. Everyone was like, oh, they're finally going to fight. No, but we all knew. The real players knew that they weren't going to fight. We knew that they weren't going to fight. It's now March 19th. What the hell's going on? I don't know. Take a look at the fucking screen, dude. This is it right here. Jake Paul, Logan Paul. Logan Paul's wife. Jake Paul's girl. Jake Paul's mom. I guess she's Logan Paul's mom too. And Greg Paul back here. Let's take a little zoom in. Look at Greg. Sipping on some scotch. There's a giraffe here. Is that Mike? I don't know, dude. It's a reality show. Okay? It's like the Kardashians, but for Logan Paul and Jake Paul. Paul American is what they call it. Not gonna lie, not a bad name for a show. We've got Impulsive, Paul American, Paul Aliqua. I'm assuming it's just gonna be a show about their life, living in Puerto Rico. What else would it be? And you know what? I gotta be completely honest with you. When this poster came out and everyone saw it, you know, the real ones knew that it wasn't going to be these two fighting. They wouldn't announce it like that. We knew it wasn't going to be this. We knew this wasn't going to be a fight. And everyone was like, oh, yeah, it's not going to be a fight. It's not going to be a fight. But it's going to be something. But nobody, and I mean nobody, speculated it was going to be this. No one said it was going to be a TV show, a reality TV show. Land of the free, home of the misbehaved. Why did no one think that was an option? It seems so obvious now in hindsight. But back then, we were like, what else could it be? There's a little promo for it, too. Jacathan Paul put it up. I don't know if there's any music in this, but if there is, we'll have to shut it down and you'll have to watch it on your own time.
Babe, this is reality. Be a
I do hear music.
real person.
It's probably copywritten, isn't it? I could mute it. Meet Jake. I have to live up to my nickname. I have to be a problematic sometimes. Thanksgiving, I'm going to stuff you like a turkey. What the hell? Wait, what? That's what he said to his girlfriend? Wait a minute.
Sometimes. Thanksgiving, I'm gonna stuff you like a turkey.
Oh. What? What the heck? What else we got? Whoops. Fuck you. Go fuck yourself. Oh, it's smelly. Oh, come on. We're both in these. At what point do we go from being brothers to lovers? Okay. So, there's a lot of sex. It's going to be a sexual show, it looks like. A lot of brother fucking, a lot of wife fucking, stuffing his girl like a turkey on Thanksgiving. Hold on, there's a little bit left. We should probably polish it off here. I'm just saying people love the Menendez brothers show. The Menendez brothers? Who's the Menendez? You know who we need for this? It's Maple. Where you at, Maple? Maybe it's Maple. Maple, what's up?
Hey, Justin. Not much. Just here and ready to chat. How about you? What's going on with you today?
Who are the Mendez brothers?
The Menendez brothers, Lyle and Eric Menendez, are known for being convicted of the 1989 murders of their parents, Jose and Kitty Menendez, in Beverly Hills, California. The case attracted widespread media attention due to the shocking nature of the crime and the subsequent trials. Initially, the brothers claimed the killings were in self-defense, but later, during the trials, it was revealed that they had a history of alleged abuse by their parents. Both were found guilty of first-degree murder and are serving life sentences without the possibility of parole. Yeah, it was a pretty intense and tragic case. It brought up a lot of discussions about family dynamics and the effects of trauma. If you have any more questions or want to talk about something else, just let me know.
I thought you said parrot, not parents. I was thinking it was a bird the whole time.
Oh, I see the confusion. No worries at all. Yeah, they were involved in a very serious case with their parents, not a pet parrot. If there's anything else you're curious about, feel free to ask.
I don't think so, Maple. I'm going to let you go.
All right, Justin. If you ever want to chat or have more questions, just let me.
Cancel. She's out of here. That's all you get to say, Maple. We need to move on, okay? No one really cares about Jake Paul and Logan Paul. I mean, they're all right guys. I don't mind them that much, to be honest. They're not too bad. They're not too shabby. But we need to move the fuck on, dude. Jonathan Jones, dude. Jon Jones. Jon Jones reportedly wants 6 months to prepare for the Aspinall fight once it's locked in. Once it's locked in. Once it's locked in? The clock is ticking. It feels like if summer is the goal, it's starting to slip away. Look at this creamy milkshake of a man. What the hell? Jones, Listen, Jones. Jonathan Jones, Bones. All right? No. We're not doing this, Jon Jones. We're not doing this. This isn't a game. You think this is a game, Jon Jones? You think we're just playing chess? You think we're playing snakes and ladders, chutes and ladders? You think this is WWE? You think you can just make a decision because you're one of the greatest of all time? Do you think you really have that pull? Do you think you really deserve to do this? Do you think you should really be doing this for the fans of the sport? What about Jonathan Aspinall, dude? 6 months. If you knew that you had needed 6 months, why the fuck weren't you training already to begin with? You should have been started training in January if you know that you needed 6 months. Don't just say, oh, I need 6 months once it's fucking locked in. Dude, it's locked in. It's been locked in. Don't say you need 6 months once it's already locked in. It is locked in. It was locked in the moment that fucking Tom Aspinall got the belt. In 2023, by the way. I believe it was November of 2023 that Tom Aspinall got the fucking interim title. And since then, he's only fought once, and that was to defend the goddamn interim title. So yeah, dude, it is locked in. And you should be fucking locked in too, baby. But you're not. You're not locked in, and that's why you keep ducking him, because you know that if you do get in the octagon with him, you're going to get your fucking ass handed to you. It's going to get ripped off and shoved down your throat, and both your legs are going to be broken, and you're going to die a miserable death, and your retirement is not going to be the way that you thought it was going to go. You're not leaving on top, dude. You're not leaving on top, but you want to. Oh, yeah, you do, Jones. You want to leave on top. But you can't. This is not your time anymore. It's come to an end. It's come to an end. But he doesn't want to do it. Okay? If Jon Jones started training today, let's say he started training today, Wednesday, March 19th, 2025. That would give him exactly 13 weeks and some change, which is about 3 months until International Fight Week, which, by the way, is when Dana White said that he wants to have Jon Jones fighting, okay? Which makes the most sense. It's the summer. It's International Fight Week. It's the biggest event for UFC throughout the entire year is International Fight Week. Las Vegas, there's all this shit going on. They got to have a really big headlining event, and it has to be the biggest of the year, so why not make it the most anticipated fight of the year, Jon Jones versus Aspinall? So, baby, you better start fucking training today. You're not going to get your goddamn 6 months. You're going to get about 3 months, so start fucking now, dude. Okay? Because if Jon Jones started today and he needed that 6 months, that leads us into September at the earliest. Okay? And if he wants to say, let's say if he needs the 6 months first, even before he steps into the octagon, that means it won't be until October that he'll actually be fighting. Anyone else in the goddamn division would be stripped of the belt. And it would immediately just go straight to Tom Aspinall. But because it's Jon Jones, we got to play by his goddamn rules. And you know what, to be completely honest, I think that obviously Jon Jones knows what he's doing, okay? This isn't him being like, oh, I'm scared of Aspinall or whatever. And maybe he is, but I know it's not that case. He knows exactly this is just a negotiation tactic. He is just using this, being like, oh, I'm going to wait 6 months before I fight Tom Aspinall so that everyone's on edge, so that he pisses off the fans, so that he pisses off Dana White, so that he pisses off Tom Aspinall. And then the UFC has to get to a point where they're like, okay, Jones, fine, fuck it. All right? You don't want to do this, yada, yada, yada. Here we go. We're going to give you the fucking money just to shut your ass up. Just to get you out there. Because what are they going to do if Jon Jones doesn't headline International Fight Week? What if he's not there for that weekend? Who is going to top that shit? We had Alex Pereira last year. He came in to save the day. just like the other 2 times. All right? But this time, we can't use the Alex Pereira card. All right? We even had the McGregor card last year as well that we could have used at some point and we were going to use at some point. I think, well, that was going to be it. The McGregor was going to be the one to jump in. He was going to be the one headlining International Fight Week. But he couldn't do it because he broke his fucking pinky toe. So now, Alex Pereira had to step in. Alex was the savior last year. We don't need a savior this year. We don't need no damn savior. All right? We got the thing. It's Tom and Jones. We got them. They're right there, right in front of us. Don't let it slip. Don't let it fade away. Jon Jones. Go in there, get your money, then leave. Go in there, lose, get your money, leave. But he does. But it's pretty simple, I'd say. But guys like this get to this point, they got to make it complicated. Okay, this is bigger. This is bigger than anything. This is bigger than McGregor. This is bigger than, well, I guess that's all we had last year. This is bigger than Alex Pereira losing. This is bigger. This is history. This is UFC history in the making. The greatest fighter that the UFC has ever had in terms of being undefeated. The longest stretch of an undefeated record in terms of title defenses is Jon Jones. No one's ever done that in the UFC specifically. And he has reached his end. This is finally his end. He is not going to go any farther than this. This is the finish line. This is it. And he's going to interrupt it and make it a mess. He's going to make it about him. He doesn't want to move the division on properly. He wants to come to a halt, a screeching halt, because he has that power. But we need the unification. And the thing is, it shouldn't even be a question. It shouldn't even be up for debate. We shouldn't even have this conversation. This shouldn't even be a thing. If someone has an interim title and the actual champion is active, there should be no negotiation. There should be no discussion. It should just immediately happen. And I know when this whole shit started, and when when we knew Stipe was still going to go in no matter what, I said at the time, I was like, yeah, I want Aspinall to fight, but they already agreed to Stipe, so I'm okay with that happening. But now in hindsight, I'm looking back at that and I'm like, no, you know what? They should have canceled the fucking Stipe fight. They should have just canceled the Stipe fight and let fucking Thomathan Aspinall in there, but they didn't. And to be completely frank, you know, it's like, I should have, we didn't have, okay. We could have, nope, you know what? I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. We're just going to move on because there's really nothing that can be said about Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall until we get actual confirmation that it is going to happen. And who knows if that is ever going to get to that point. Bryce Mitchell is next. I don't know if y'all saw this video. I don't know if you care about this video. Of course you care. Let's just take a listen, take a watch.
Good morning, y'all. I need all my Christian warriors to pray for me that I would have peaceful sleep. Every single night since the day before the press conference, I've had demonic dreams. Legions of demons attack me every single time.
Legions.
And not one time have I seen any peaceful sleep since that day. These demons surround me and they try to fight me and provoke me to anger.
That's right,
and then
Bryce.
The dream will switch and they'll send beautiful women,
Mm.
and they're trying to get me to lust, to cheat on my wife. Satan's using two of my weaknesses to try to expose the evil in my own heart, which is anger and lust.
Okay.
However, where I am weak, the Lord is strong.
You damn right,
Please
Bryce.
pray for me.
I'm
Especially
praying.
if you're fasting right now. Please pray that I would have peaceful sleep, that God would send Michael, Gabriel, Uriel, and Raphael, Samson,
The
and
Ninja
King
Turtles,
David to
right?
watch over me and protect me with the shield of faith. Remember, guys, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against spiritual wickedness, dark principalities, and evil powers in high places. I'm not just fighting a man on April 12th. I'm fighting a man possessed by a legion of demons. When I
Legion.
simply said the name Jesus, he was provoked to maliciousness. And he started barking like a dog and chanting F you, F you, F you. Remember, guys, the days of me fighting for myself are long gone. I now fight for the name of the Lord. And the devil, he ain't going to waste his time trying to plague a loser. He knows that a victory for the Lord is at.
Yeah, Bryce. Okay, listen, I like Bryce. I'm on Bryce's side. I want Bryce to win. We all want. Well, see, I don't know. I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, oh, we all want Bryce to win now. And not because of this. Well, maybe it is because of this, but I think there's. Everyone was on the Jon Silva train. We all love Jon Silva. He was hyped, and he's still hyped. But when it came, but that press conference changed everything. Immediately, there was division between these two characters. And Bryce is so. What kind of. Have you ever seen a strategy like this before? I've never seen a strategy like this before. He's throwing demons into the mix. Now, mind you, you could say it's demons, but I believe it's just anxiety, Bryce. It's anxiety, you're losing sleep over it because it's a combination of two things. One, it's the fact that you put out that podcast, that crazy-ass podcast episode, and there was so much backlash on that shit. You've never experienced that much hate at once before. So that's a lot to process. So that alone is weighing in on your head. And then two, you've got the press conference where everyone's continuing to boo you, and Jon Silva's really getting in your head, dude. So metaphorically speaking, yes, you could say it is demons. But it's just anxiety, I would say. Or it's the CTE. Josh Emmett hit you a little too hard, baby. It shook the sane out of you. I still like Bryce. You can tell. He's a good guy. He means well. He really means well. He said some shit. Continues to say some shit, but he's not saying as much crazy shit as he was before. Now he's just like extra really religious. Which is fine, which is good. And I think because he has taken that route, that means the majority of people are going to be on his side, as they should be. And as much as I love the Fighting Nerds as a whole, and I love Jon Silva specifically, which I didn't always actually. To begin with, I thought he was really weird and strange how he was just like when he first started to make appearances in the UFC, like his post-fight interviews in the Octagon, he was just over the top grateful and hugging, and even, he does the thing during the fight where he's high-fiving guys and he's helping guys up and and it was like, come on, dude, it's too much. You're a little too loving. But then as he progressed and as the Fighting Nerds as a whole progressed, the character builds on you when you look at him and you go, ooh, this is a nice guy. This is a cool character. This is a nice cat. And right up until his last fight that he just had, that really blew him into the fucking atmosphere. Because he's been dominating the entire time, but this time he you reach a point in the UFC where it's that one fight that puts you over the top, and it's like, okay, now he's known. Everybody knows him, and that last fight was the fight that Jon Silva had that put him over the edge. And it just so happened that after he did that, it aligned at the same time that Bryce did all his shit. And they're in the same weight class, and they're both up at the same level. So of course it makes sense to match them together. So these are two likable characters that are both in the public eye for different aspects and different things. But they're both liked, or at least they were liked. Jon Silva's very liked. But then Bryce Mitchell was always liked until that podcast. So that brought him back down. But he was still in the public's eye. So it's like now Jon Silva's the good guy and Bryce Mitchell's the bad guy. Then you clash them together. Okay, now they're going to fight. Okay, then you have the press conference. But then look what happens. During the press conference, Jon Silva knows that he's really, really liked. Loved, I would say. And Bryce Mitchell knows that all this shit that's been going on has caused him to be a controversial figure in the UFC space. Okay? So Jon Silva rises up and uses that against Bryce. Okay? But he does it a little too much. He does it a little too aggressively. And he becomes cocky. Very, too much cocky. Okay? And Bryce is just trying to speak his mind. And also, mind you, that Bryce was just on the Jackson podcast trying to speak his mind, and they shut him down as well. Which that kind of put Bryce Mitchell back in the good graces of people to begin with. But now, at this press conference, Jon Silva's such a fucking cocky little asshole and annoying. He was being really annoying over the top. That now made Bryce the likable guy, and now Jon Mitchell is the evil one. And it happened almost immediately. The switch happened almost immediately. So when you put all those factors together, it's just one of the many things that makes this fight so goddamn exciting. So goddamn exciting. Mitchell is hated. Now he's the good guy. And Jon Mitchell's the bad guy. Now anyway, Bryce is comparing Jon Mitchell to like a demon, saying he is a demon. And even if Bryce Mitchell wasn't as religious as he is, and if it wasn't Bryce Mitchell fighting Jon Silva, if it could have been anyone fighting Jon Mitchell, if there was anyone in the UFC that you could compare to a demon, it would be Jon Mitchell. Because of just the way he acts, the shit that he does.
No cage do RFA e depois a comemoração que eu não entendi muito bem. Este é o guerreiro Jean Lorde Assassino Silva!
Now this is old footage, but he still does. He doesn't go this hard, but he does this shit. Who else does this? He's very aggressive. He's very strange. He's a barking animal. So even though you might say like Bryce is crazy, he's a little too religious, and maybe you don't actually believe what he says, but when you kind of look into it, you're like, if God was real, and if God did pick someone that he wanted to fight for him to fight off a demon, these would be the two characters that you would pick to do this. It's kind of weird how it just kind of makes sense, even though Bryce is whatever. The story does actually line up. But if we're looking at it from a kind of a reality perspective, I think Bryce is just his thoughts are a little too intrusive, and he's taking them in a direction that he shouldn't be. And we've even got guys like Sean Strickland saying, like, I love Bryce, don't hold this against me, but therapy would do him wonders. If every time I had an intrusive thought, I thought, oh, it's the devil, I'd lose my mind. Intrusive thoughts aren't the devil, Bryce. Probably just fight anxiety manifesting itself in a fucked up thought. Say what you will about Sean Strickland, that is like a perfect summary of what's going on with Bryce right now. It's 100% just anxiety, and it's just manifesting itself in this way. But Bryce truly believes that it's demons, okay? Now, in the perspective of fighting, UFC fighting, when you really think about it, having that perspective, imagining that the person you're fighting is an actual fucking demon and you need to destroy and kill this thing for God, like, is there any more motivating factor to fight another person? Like, I don't think so. So this is actually really going to work in his benefit, which also makes it exciting for the fans to watch. But with that being said, Sean Strickland's still right. He should probably talk to someone about this, therapist. And Sean's the biggest advocate for not going to therapy. He's really against that sort of shit. So for him to say this, it's like, all right, maybe you should go see someone, Bryce. It might not hurt. And there is one other thing, like Jean Silva did reply to Bryce Mitchell after he put out that video. Bryce, two things. These are not demons. It's just you being afraid to face me. And second, about that beautiful women, you have a hormone called testosterone, and you probably have problems with it. Just be ready for April 12th because I will be. I don't exactly know what he's saying about the testosterone thing. Because if Bryce is having lust thoughts about potentially cheating on his wife, that would mean that he's just a little more horny for girls, right? Which would mean his testosterone is higher. When if his testosterone's higher, then that means he's going to have the advantage against Jon Silva. So I get what he was trying to do here, but it doesn't fucking make sense what you just said, Jon Silva. You fucking crusty asshole. If there ever was a fighting nerd that I would want to lose, and I do want to lose, it's this one. Right here, right now. And if it wasn't for this Bryce Mitchell situation, I'm voting for, I want the fighting nerds to continue to stay undefeated for as long as possible. And it could still happen, but it would be so nice just to have Bryce win. It would be absolutely thrilling for Bryce to win for so many different reasons. Anyway, we're moving on. Islam Makhachev, lightweight champ, apparently he turned down a fight with Ilia Topuria. Islam has not agreed to this fight. He maintains the position that Topuria needs to earn a title shot at 155 per Makhachev's team. Now, I agree with this shit. When you look at Topuria's record, okay, now mind you, he's good, but he had 6 fights in the UFC before stepping up for the title. He got into UFC, had 6 fights before stepping up for the title. By the way, one of his fights was Bryce Mitchell, Josh Emmett. Those were his most notable names before he went for the title. There was a couple other guys, 4 other guys he fought before those two. Then he fought Alex Volkanovski for the title, and then he defended the title against Max Holloway. So he hasn't had a long run, but he's had a very successful run, and he's still undefeated. And then he vacated the belt and moved to lightweight. So for him to just have this short little career, even though it was a dominant career, it was still a short career, and then move up to lightweight and just be like, hey, Makhachev, let's go. It's like, I agree with Islam Makhachev that he shouldn't just jump right up and take on that fight. Now, mind you, again, I should also mention that Ilia's last 5 fights in a row were either Fight of the Night performances or what's the other one called? Performance of the Night. So, he is a dominant force, but at least let him prove himself. Okay? Cool. Totally cool with that. So the next in line you would think would be, well, probably Charles Oliveira. But Charizard Oliveira, did I have it saved here? Yeah, Charles Oliveira, look at this here, says, I will only fight Topuria if he wins the belt. So now we've got Islam Makhachev saying, you're not going to get a shot at the belt until you prove yourself. And then and then Charles Oliveira, did I say Islam said, you're not going to get a shot at the belt unless you prove yourself in lightweight. And then Charles Oliveira is like, I'm not going to fight you until you have the belt. Okay, so we're at a crossroads here. Now, we know that Charles Oliveira is next in line, or potentially is next in line to get the belt, but lightweight's so fucking messed up and stacked at the same time right now. We don't know what the hell's going on. We got Justin Gaethje saying he wants a shot at the title. Now, some people say Justin Gaethje shouldn't have a shot at the title, specifically the Guru. I've been watching a lot of Guru lately, that's why I'm bringing him up. But he's thinking that because Justin Gaethje's on a 1-fight win streak, that he doesn't deserve it. Now, I don't even know about that. Is that a good credential? I don't think so. Look at his record prior to that, leading up to that. Yeah, he lost to fucking Max Holloway for the BMF title. And by the way, Justin Gaethje's not even considering that an actual fight. He's saying that was an expedition. So Charles Oliveira would make the most sense for Ilia. But I don't know. Okay, so what other options are there for Ilia? Well, you got Dustin Poirier. You could put Dustin Poirier against Ilia for Dustin's retirement fight. I think that would be good. But what if they put Justin Gaethje with Dustin Poirier for his retirement fight? Have the trilogy with those guys. It's like Dustin already had a trilogy with McGregor. It's like, trilogies? I'm not a fan of trilogies to begin with, let alone a trilogy for a retirement fight for Dustin Poirier. I mean, so I think Dustin against Ilia would honestly be really Krispy Kreme, and that is probably what's not going to happen. But if that did happen, that would prove to Islam that Ilia deserves a shot at the title. I mean, depending on what happened. But then you got to think about this. Well, what if Dustin wins against Ilia? Okay, now Dustin should have a shot at the title. But it's Dustin's retirement fight. So it's like if Dustin won against Ilia, would he not retire and then fight Islam Makhachev again? Because Islam himself has even said that his favorite fight was against Dustin Poirier because he put up such a challenge for him. So that's interesting. But then if Ilia did win against Dustin, that would mean Dustin would be leaving on a loss against a guy who is going to immediately jump up and get the title that he always wanted. So that would be a bad ending to Dustin's career. Even though it would be a really good fight, I don't know if you'd want to go that way. So really it's either Charles Oliveira, Justin Gaethje, or Dustin Poirier. They're going to put him up against Ilia, I mean. Now there is Dan Hooker, okay? Dan Hooker is still just floating around. He was supposed to fight Gaethje, as we know, but he had broke his hand. But who knows how long Dan's going to be out for, because his hand was pretty gnarly. I think they said it was going to be a good 6 months or something. But imagine Dan Hooker against Ilia. Fucking another fantastic fight. And then you got to think, well, wow, okay. So if Dan Hooker wins against Ilia, does that mean Dan Hooker immediately jumps to the top and fight for the title? I don't know. There's a lot of things to consider here. And really, you speculate. And what ends up happening? All the options you lay out, usually the one that you least think is going to happen ends up happening. And maybe, because I actually don't, as much as we're hearing Justin Gaethje talk about how he wants to go fight for the title, I don't even know if that's going to happen. I have no fucking idea. But we move on. Look at this. Huh? What are your thoughts on this? Dvalishvili versus O'Malley 2. Now, what are we doing here, guys? Not a fan of this rematchup, I should say. We had the fight. O'Malley clearly lost. There's no reason to do a rematch on this. There was some contention between the fighters, and if you thought maybe one guy won and should have won, but he didn't win. Like, for instance, Sean Strickland and Dricus, okay? It was very close. I thought Strickland won. A lot of people thought Strickland won. So give him the rematch. All right, then it actually proved, okay, Dricus is the better man. My lips are dry as piss. Merab versus O'Malley. O'Malley clearly fucking lost. We're getting too many rematches lately. And some are necessary, but sometimes they're not. And this is one that's definitely not necessary. And really the only reason they're doing this is to potentially get O'Malley back as the champ. Because there's too many fucking boring champs right now. And O'Malley was the only champ that, like, not only the casuals knew who he was, but the people who have no fucking idea about anything in the UFC, don't watch UFC, don't follow UFC, those people, the outsiders, people who are just living their lives, those people even knew who O'Malley was. So O'Malley was just a mascot for the UFC. That's all he was. And that's all he will be. Now, I'm not saying he's not a good fighter, because he is a good fighter, but he's just a mascot. He's got the hair. He doesn't even have a good personality. He's awkward and uncomfortable. He's not good on the mic. Like that video of Henry Cejudo calling him out. Being like, hey, Precious, you ready to get it going? Or whatever the fuck he said. O'Malley seemed uncomfortable and scared around him. And when Sean Strickland was beefing with him on the press conference, like, he's not good on the mic. All he has is his hair. It's simply because of his hair and his tattoos and the way he dresses and the colorful fucking Lamborghinis and all the clothes and shit. Like, that's the only reason why people know him. There's highlights of him knocking people out with colorful hair. Okay? Yeah, he can fight. And he's very good. He's very good, man. He's very good. But he's not a star. He's not a star. He's not someone who you can use to attract other than the fact of his looks. That's all he has for him. He's a symbol. He's a character that just stands out. That's it. You don't have to watch UFC. You don't even have to pay attention to UFC to know who O'Malley is. And that's why they liked having him there, is because he's that kind of guy. Because I'll talk to people, and I remember when O'Malley was first fighting Merab, and people were asking me, like, oh, what are you doing this weekend? I'm watching UFC. And they're like, oh, I don't watch UFC, but who's fighting? And I'm like, oh, you probably know that O'Malley's fighting. And they're like, oh, yeah, I know O'Malley. He's the colorful hair guy. Okay? You ask anyone if you were to walk up on the street and ask any random stranger, do you know anything about the UFC? And they say no. And I'm like, name one UFC fighter. And even if they don't know his name, they'd say, I know that guy with the colorful hair. And that's O'Malley. That's what he does for the UFC. So they're sticking him back in with Merab for a rematch to be like, okay, O'Malley, let's hope, pray to God you can do this so that we can get at least our symbol back in. Because we have too many boring champs, and it's getting to a point where there's going to be an overwhelming amount of boring champs. We lost Pereira. We lost O'Malley. We have Pantoja. We lost Leon Edwards. Ilia vacated the belt. But at least we've got Volk and Diego stepping in, and one of those guys will get it. And Islam. Now, Islam's a fucking amazing fighter, but as a star, as someone who can attract people to the UFC, these guys don't do it. They don't do it. So even though the UFC does give people the matchups that they deserve, the matchups that the actual fight fans want to see, it can bite you in the ass business-wise. So they need to do shit like this. Let's bring O'Malley back against Merab. And that's all that is. It's not because Sean O'Malley deserves a second shot. It's not because people thought it was close. It's simply because they want potentially to have their mascot back. That's it. And I don't think he's going to win. Merab, he's a dominant force. Overwhelming amount of stamina. Overwhelming amount of stamina. And he's going to go in there, and he's going to crush it, and it's going to be O'Malley's downfall from here on out. We're seeing a lot of downfalls lately. We're also seeing a lot of undefeated fighters losing their O lately. I don't know if you noticed, but there's a lot of that too. So it's in a bit of a downward spiral, but it's going to get back up again. It's going to get back up. Just wait to see what happens. Let the waters settle. Okay, let Aspinall come in. Let's see who the featherweight champ's going to be. Let's see if Ilia can defeat Makhachev. Okay, then it'll start getting exciting again. Maybe Yuri will step up to the plate and get the light heavyweight belt. Or maybe Alex will come back and get it. And if Alex gets it, is Yuri going to get another shot? I don't know. We'll see. Okay, it's a little damp and dead right now. But just wring out the cloth. We're just starting to wring out the cloth. We just soaked the cloth up with a bunch of boring ass fucking fighters. Okay, the cloth is soaking wet right now. Okay, and by the time this year ends, we're gonna have it fully wrung out with new and good potential material. All right, that's pretty much it. I don't want to talk. I was gonna talk about the GFL, but we don't need to talk about that shit. Okay. But I'll just say this. Honestly, I don't even know if the GFL is going to happen. We're seeing people that were signed to the GFL now leaving the GFL. We're seeing people who were signed to the GFL now coming back to UFC. They said that their first fucking match was going to be in April. We still haven't heard where or when or what time it's going to be. There's nothing. They have a website, but there's nothing on the website. There's a bunch of news articles about the fact that GFL exists. But you think by this point, by March fucking 19th, we would hear some news about whether or not the GFL was going to fucking happen. Because like I said, their announcement was that the first fight is going to happen in April. What? Okay. It's damn near April. It's damn near April. What do you expect people to buy tickets last fucking second? I don't think it's going to happen. And if it does happen, it's going to happen later in the year. The average age, I calculated this. I didn't even want to talk about GFL, but I just did I calculated the average age of all the fighters in the GFL. And the average age is 36 years old. That's the average age of every single fighter in the GFL. So when people say grandfather fighting league, they're not fucking joking, because it's all retired fighters. The whole division, damn near. So I don't know if this is just some sort of Ponzi scheme where everybody's just going to make a bunch of money. There's not going to be a single fight, and then the thing's going to get shut down. I don't know. But it's interesting. And, yeah, it's just suspicious because April's right around the corner and no announcement. Imagine if the UFC did this. They're not a new organization, but you get my drift. Anyway, didn't mean to do that. Yeah, that's it, I guess. There is a fight night this weekend. Leon Edwards versus Sean Brady. It's actually going to be a sick fucking card. I did make fight prediction sheets. I will actually have them in the drive if you want them. So that's that. Anyway, bye.